Hi, it's Margaret, interview coach from London in the UK. Welcome to your final video in your hired video course. I really hope you've enjoyed the tips in previous videos and that you've learned a few new strategies that you can use in your next interview. One of the most stressful issues you'll come across when looking for a job will be negotiating your pay. In most cases, salary negotiations do not begin until a preliminary job offer has been made. It is possible, however, for initial salary negotiation to occur in the middle of the initial interview. In either case, you should be prepared to discuss your past earnings, your desired salary for the new position, and to undergo a bit of give and take on the actual numbers. Brushing up on your salary negotiation techniques prior to interviewing can prove very helpful in getting you a salary that you deserve. Salary research has to be done prior to the interview. Knowledge is power, and you want to have all the facts in your hands about market rates for a job at your level before you can assess if the package offered is fair or not. Remember, when interviewing turns to the topic of money, is that the employer is already interested if they are negotiating pay. Getting the salary you want is similar to negotiating a price with auto dealer. You have an idea of what you're worth, and the employer has an idea what they are willing to pay. Your salary is somewhere in the middle. During a job interview, you should wait for the employer to bring up the topic of salary and benefits. There is a whole chapter with loads of advice on how the salary game is played into this marketplace in my ebook Land That Job, where I talk about the correct mental approach to take in the negotiation process, different rules of negotiating the salary in various companies, how the negotiation will vary depending on the person handling the negotiation, whether it's an HR person or a recruiter, whether you negotiate with the hiring manager directly, or whether you've landed the job through a search firm or a recruitment agency. Regardless of what salary policies the employer follows or who is involved in the negotiation, one important constant applies. After you take the job, it will be very difficult to increase your salary substantially. Depending on the industry, in most companies today, the average annual raise is in the region of 3 to 5%. Some employers won't raise your salary much more even if they offer you a promotion. If you work for such an employer, you'll be lucky if your promotion nets you an increase of 10 to 15%. You can see then how critical it is to negotiate your best deal when you accept a new job. Your success or failure affects you for a long time to come. So how high can you go? Firstly, keep your salary requirements simple, so the employer understands your needs. However, your negotiating power depends on a variety of factors. The first is your negotiating skill itself, your ability to convince the employer to give you what you want. The second is the job market. If a lot of people are out there selling the same skills and experience as you lose some of your negotiating edge. Keep in mind that the employer has already selected you as the best of all the available candidates. You must have something the others didn't offer, so don't assume that a tight economy means you can't negotiate for a better deal. The third factor affecting your negotiating power is the type of job you're being hired to do. Generally, the higher up the corporate ladder you go, the more you can bargain for wages, benefits, and perks. When you negotiate salary, you must remember that you're involved in a sales process. Your goal is to persuade the customer, the employer, to pay as much as possible for your services. Like all other customers today, employers are extremely tight-fisted with their money. The only way to get them to part with more of it is to convince them that doing so will pay off handsomely for the company. Remember, you must focus on the needs of the employer and not on your own needs when you sell yourself in an interview. The same applies in salary negotiations. If you want 5,000 more than the employer offers, you have to prove that you're worth 5,000 more to the company. How do you do that? By explaining to the employer the benefits and advantages you offer, and by citing examples of how your past accomplishments benefited previous employers. In other words, by using the same sales techniques you used to convince the employer to make you a job offer in the first place. The way in which you present your requests during salary negotiations has a dramatic impact on whether you get what you want from an employer. Be firm but flexible. self-confident but not arrogant or demanding, and sell your skills and knowledge in a way that appeals to the employer's concern about the bottom line. When negotiating your pay, there are a few things to remember to get the salary you want. Firstly, maintain the proper attitude. During negotiations, be enthusiastic, polite, and professional. Let the employer know by your tone of voice and your demeanor that your goal is a win-win situation. If you are too pushy or adopt take it or leave it attitude, the employer might get the impression that you're not that interested in the job and withdraw the offer. Next tip, start high and work towards a middle ground. Ask for a little more than you think the employer wants to pay, and then negotiate a middle ground between the employer first offer and your counter proposal. Also, be creative. Look beyond base salary for ways to boost your income. For example, if the employer can't increase your base pay because of salary grade restrictions, ask for a one-time sign-on bonus. Some other options to consider include extra holidays, early salary review, bonuses, and shorter work week. I talk about it in more detail in my ebook, Land That Job. Also remember to continue selling yourself. As you negotiate, remind the employer how the company will benefit from your service. Let's say, for example, that the employer balks at giving you $8,000 more in compensation. Explain how you will recoup that amount and more for the company. Justify every additional pound or euro or benefit you request. Remember to do so by focusing on the employer's needs, not yours. Ask for a fair price. Be sure that your requests are reasonable and in line with the current marketplace. It's best to quote a range, from the lowest salary you would be happy to receive to the highest you think you deserve based on the research you have done. You don't want to quote just one number and lock yourself into a salary that is lower than the employer is willing to pay. If the market rate for a position is between $55,000 and $65,000, don't ask for $85,000 and expect the employer to take you seriously. Make sure you know both the low and high ranges of pay for the type of work you will be doing. Then think about your level of experience and expertise in order to determine whether you should quote a salary at either the lower or higher end of the scale. You also need to come up with a minimum number you will have to make in order to be content with your job. Be a confident negotiator. Part of convincing employers that you're worth a certain amount is convincing them that you believe you're worth that much. If you appear nervous, squirming in your seat, or wringing your hands while you talk salary, it's a dead giveaway to the employer that you're not sure you deserve the amount you requested. Remember to use the confident body language. Silence is golden, and if you can keep your cool during a silent period in an interview, you will look in control, comfortable, and competent. Silence is another important weapon in creating this confident image. When you make a salary request, don't go on and on stating over and over, again, why is justified. Make your request and offer a short, simple explanation of why that amount is appropriate. For example, I believe that given the market value of my experience and of this position, the compensation should be $5,000 higher. After you state your request, be quiet. There are times when it's better to stay silent in the interview. Don't rush in to fill any silence that ensues. Wait for the employer to respond. If you don't, you appear uncertain in your request and let the employer know you are probably willing to settle for less. Ideally, both parties in a negotiation should come away from the table feeling that they've won. This is especially true when you're dealing with salary negotiations. You want employers to have good feelings about your price paid for your services so that your working relationship begins on a positive note. Negotiating pay to get the salary you want is not that hard. If you can demonstrate what skills you can bring to the table and what they are worth, you can find a suitable arrangement with an employer. Good luck! If you've enjoyed this video, please leave me a comment below and let me know your thoughts. As a thank you for watching this video course, I'd like to offer you a 20% discount on my step-by-step guide, Land That Job, available at www.landthatjob.co.uk. If you would like to learn more on how to make yourself stand out from the crowd, how to create a winning CV and a covering letter, how to increase your confidence, identify your unique selling points to use during the interview, and much more, you will find lots of practical advice in my Land That Job e-guide. This e-guide is not a fluffy overview of these topics. If you want foolproof strategies that you can learn and apply quickly and easily, you can get Land That Job with 20% discount when you enter DISC20 when you check out. Thank you again for listening, and good luck with your interviews.